coming down, but it's churning. Looks like we're on, and up and on. Up and on, and there's a place here people can chat. I can. Did you get the phone earlier off?
I did not. I'm just. No. So in this deck, the kings are knights.
Yes, that's the Crowley way, yeah. Knights and princes in there, eh?
Yes. And the princes have chariots.
All right. I guess better start talking about this.
I guess.
We're on.
Yeah. Hey.
There we are.
Hi.
So.
My toes are cold. I need my slippers.
Okay.
You go ahead. I'll be right back.
Chokmah, the second path.
Say hi. Is anybody there?
Hi. If somebody's there. Yes, we do. We have people going hi. There's Richard and somebody.
And explain to them we're not doing the other.
Yeah, we'll do the, just to let you we'll turn on the messenger system after, because it was too weird and squawky and out of sync last time. So we'll do that after for the discussion, that part of the discussion. And this part of the discussion, we are broadcasting Chokmah, of course, is
Handy dandy.
Handy dandy.
Handy dandy.
There we are. The gray one at the top. There we are. There we are. So, in the lightning flash of creative divine energy, we go from the top, tippy top, number one, Kether, the source energy, pre-polarity source energy, into polarity. And that begins with sphere number 2. So from unity to polarity, and sort of the supreme or above the abyss concepts of polarity. So the divine masculine and the divine feminine. And of course we did the ultimate divine feminine associated with the planet Saturn last week. Now this, as we move up towards our ultimate bliss out in divine energy, the next stage going up is the ultimate masculine energy. So sort of the yin and the yang. So we did the yang, the feminine last time, and we're doing the yin. I hope I got that right. Not looking it up now. Yin and the yang. And
what?
No, I'm worried about it. But anyway, well, I'll look it up after. Let's see if we can chop this part off or not.
Let's see. It's the two. Yin
The two, yin and the yang. So the idea here is that from the unity, from unpolarized source energy, we get into the first from the first sphere, which is the first sphere, into the second sphere. So the kind of concept in that is male energy. That doesn't mean a guy. It doesn't mean a dude. It doesn't mean like masculine in a sense of sexuality or in a sense of any kind of human context. It means a masculine energy as kind of the concept of force, of directed energy. So up here in the supernals, above the abyss, which is the line there, we have, remember, sphere undifferentiated, unpolarized, pure source energy into maleness, or focused to the channel of energy. So what we have in this channel of energy is pure source energy, but this is the creation of the channel, the directing of the force. Where in the divine feminine, in Saturn, we have the limitation, the cauldron, the divine cauldron, the divine, the sacred womb, where the whole universe is all material matter, and the whole universe is nurtured. So think of it then as in the Hindi system, this would be seen as the lingam and the yoni, the male and the female, energy and containment. There we are.
Mm-hmm.
Now, of course, Saturn, last week, the sphere Binah, the third Sephroth Binah, is associated with the planet Saturn. But here, yes, of course, since the original Kabbalah with a K and Kabbalah with a Q, where these associations were initially developed centuries, when was Uranus discovered? In the mid-1700s. So these associations were developed before there was, humans were aware of what we call in astrology, the outer planets. Saturn was visible on a dark night. Saturn is visible to the naked eye. So the idea here of the Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto are the more modern planets. I don't want to digress too much into astrology here, but so Uranus is kind of radical change, and that was discovered just before around the time of the American and French revolutions. Neptune was discovered, I think, in the 1840s, and Neptune is associated with the spiritualism movement, etc., and drugs, both like the opium wars and when mediumship became a real thing in the 1840s, 1860s, and beyond. And then Pluto, of course, was discovered in, I think, the late 1920s, which, of course, is and its association is with nuclear energy and the criminal underground, which was big in the Prohibition, of course. So we have these connections to the modern planets, but they're not connected to the tree of life in that way. Of course, there could be some discussion about maybe putting Uranus on Chokmah, or Uranus on, or Neptune or Uranus on the throat chakra, or Dayath, the invisible sphere. There's different discussion, and that might be appropriate. But for our purposes, There is not a planet associated with Chokmah. However, what we can view as Chokmah is the whole zodiac. Chokmah can be seen as the whole zodiac, which in our, up here in southwestern Canada, right now I'm looking at the camera and my computer, which is in kind of the northwest corner of the room. So if I am to look at the zodiac, and if I'm outside at night and it's clear night and I'm looking at the planets and the stars, they go in like an arch. The sun and the moon go in this archway that's about that big in the sky, 20, almost 30 degrees in the sky. So, well, 40 degrees in the sky. So it's, there's a lot of variation. You can really tell sometimes the moon is way low in the sky. It's south in declination. Sometimes the moon is way high in the sky. And it's rises over the horizon in a more northerly place. So that's the band of the zodiac. So very much has a lot to do with the occult phrase "as above, so below," because it's on the zodiac band. So at this, what I was trying to say, at this latitude, you can see it going that way. So down isn't so much down as sort of an angle to the north, because that's the angle of the planet in the zodiac. And up to the zodiac isn't so much straight up as towards that arch of the zodiac to the south in the northern hemisphere. So what that's about is, when I'm saying as above, so below, I'm thinking of connecting to that zodiac, that wheel of the year. In Wicca, that's the wheel of course, our seasons, in astrology, and the signs. And it's that as above, so below is that idea of participating in, I'm just going to town here, participating in the rhythm and the cycles of the earth, of the natural order of things that's celebrated in the Wiccan Sabbats. But also here it's the idea of as above, so below, that divine influence above that we want to match with our human lives below. So it's really the big picture here up in Chokmah. So, a little more. Chokmah wisdom, the 4 twos in the tarot, the 4 kings in the tarot. It is represented by the concept of the supernal father, the ultimate divine male force. It's called the will to force. It is a dynamic outpouring of energy. It is not organized at this time. It is the great stimulator, the first positive, the phallus, the line, Yod, the letter Yod in Hebrew. Astrological reference, the sphere of the zodiac, the band of the zodiac. The color is gray. I'm just quickly, I didn't want to even, I'm looking at one of my fave books here, which is around this, the Kabbalistic Tarot, for the discussion around Chokmah, and we'll just kind of give it its due here, because it really starts talking about the symbol of the male generative organ, the phallus, the lingam, a key symbol for Chokmah. And the idea here is more, of course, that it is symbolic. It is not about so much human sexuality as the idea of life generating. It's a symbol for Chokmah because it's about life generating flow of energy, which is then held, of course, in Wicca and other occult sciences. Shall we say coitus? That's a good way of saying it.
Sure.
The sexual act is the symbol of the union of the god and goddess. It is seen. So certainly, it is. However, I just want to reiterate. It's symbolic and.
Spiritual fertility.
Thank you. Spiritual fertility. What a great concept. However, that said, to quote Wang here, it is no coincidence that the ecstasies of visionaries such as Saint Teresa or Saint John of the Cross are described in words that seem explicitly sexual or orgasmic. Because it is the sense of union with the divine, which provides ecstasy, and so it has been. Even my teacher in this in the Kabbalah, was sure would mention that we talk about. It's often said that God is love. God is love. God's love. So, however, what we're learning here is, and especially next week when we get up to Kether, is that source energy is, of course, I'm still on topic here, but I know I jump around. Of course, in the Bible, Moses goes to the top of the mountain, and the burning bush says something to the effect of, "I am." Who are you? I am. However, I learned that's not maybe a better interpretation, a better translation. Might be I who am becoming. I am the becoming. So the idea, not just I am as a thing, as a noun, but I aming. I know that's not a word, but it's the idea that it's the verb. It is active. You're talking about active energy here. So let's take that over a step. And so to say that God is love in action. God is loving more than God is love as a thing. So it might be the experience of the divine is often parallel to the sexual ecstasy and the orgasm. So the idea here is, and I think that's why, both why sexuality is so important, aside from procreation, but it's important to so many people. It's important to us, it's important to individuals, in so much around their self-identity. Even if you're not getting much, it's still about your self-identity. And the idea here is that perhaps this idea of enlightenment or union with the divine, the closest we get to it, the closest the 3D, stuck in time, normal kind of quote unquote, your average human consciousness gets to an experience of the divine is through sexuality, is the sexual experience. If it's the sexual experience with love, you're beginning to talk about what might be seen as the ultimate human experience. So certainly too, you talk about, we could talk too then about addiction and drugs and that sort of pharmaceutical, or shall we say fake enlightenment, is and why these things have such an appeal is because it takes people out of their 3D life into an exalted experience. And so hence the symbology here, when you get up to these levels of potentially talking about a divine experience, that's why you can't escape the metaphor of sexuality. One can symbolically take the whole myth of the Garden of Eden as the supernal triangle, the supernals, the three, what is beyond the abyss. The male, the female, and the energy. Number 2 symbolizes the balance of opposites underlying all material existence. That's why it is, let's go to this here. Kether is ultimately androgynous. Chokmah is the idea of maleness. Binah is the idea of femaleness. We're in the supernal triangle. There's no sexuality as we understand it, because there's no sensation on this level. Maleness is described as the vital outpouring of energy, which is organized, which means limited or formalized by the qualities of femaleness and given form. But on this level, it's the idea of form. Let me just read, he's got here the Sephroth Zero before we get going. In Chokmah is a cloud-like gray, which containeth various colors and is mixed with them, like a transparent pearl-hued mist. Ooh, sounds cool. Yet radiating withal, as if behind it there was a brilliant glory, because there is. Kether, behind it is a brilliant glory. And the sphere of its influence is in Mazloth, the starry heaven, wherein it disposeth the forms of things. So of course, and then in other words, the zodiac. And Yah is the divine ideal wisdom. So the God name here is Yah or Jah, like a good Rasta. Jaman, Aman. And Yah is the divine ideal wisdom, and its archangel is Ratziel. Ratziel. Please remember that in the meditation for guidance from Ratziel. The Prince of Princes, of the knowledge of hidden and concealed things, and the name of its order of angels is Alphanium, the Alphanium, the wheels or the whirling forces, which are also called the order of the cherubim. So that's the order of angels, the Alphanim, of the order of the cherubim. So let's have a look at those tarot cards, which I have ready. Dallas got the kings out. Let's start with that.
There you go.
Of course, for people, students of the tarot, which is a big part of this, of course, you usually have court cards of the page or princess and the prince, and then the queens and the kings. However, this particular deck, as well as follows Aleister Crowley's lead by switching those up. And the princes remained the princes, and the kings became the knights in Crowley's deck. And so here we have the knights, but they are the kings for all intents and purposes. Crowley did that because he didn't like the idea that these kings are active energies and they're all depicted sitting there on a throne. And he preferred to have the idea that these on horseback and are active.
Define more force.
More force,
Forceful.
yes. Let's start with the Knight of Wands. This guy is, so in the tarot, it's always the kings are the knights in this deck are the element of fire in each of the suits. So this one is Fire of Fire, the King of Wands. How is that image coming up? It's a little
Shall I turn
reflecty.
the
Oh no, I just got the right angle and that's good there. So this guy is in armor and on a fiery steed and everything's fiery all around him. Gracious. Carrying he's carrying a torch.
Impetuous.
Impetuous.
Oh, sorry, impetus.
Impetus for
Not impetuous.
impetuous. Well, he might be impetuous as well.
Mm.
And then we also have the Knight of Swords, or i.e. the King of Swords here on a Pegasus-like creature. Oh no, that's the knight with the wings, not the horse. But he is kind of riding. The horse is definitely flying and stepping on the clouds. The sword there. And I think it's interesting here. No, we'll do that because we'll do them first. The Knight of Chalices or Cups here. He's on the beach. He's not in such a rush as the other guys. In fact, he seems to be kind of pulling back on the reins a bit, slowing his horse down. So the Knight of Cups there, the idea of it's a fire of water. Knight of King of Cups, King of Swords, fire of air, King of, or Knight in this case of Pentacles, fire of earth. Now here we got a guy, his horse is a little more moving, but he's definitely in the fertile field, spying a stag in the distance. They're all winged, come to think of it. It's hard to discern whether the Knight of Wands or King of Fire here is winged or just has a cape, but all the other guys are winged. But one thing I notice right away in this deck, which is appropriate for what we're doing tonight, let's see, how does that work, is they all have the starry sky above in the top of the card. So they're all showing that the starry sky, okay? Which is really about what Chokmah is about.
Mm-hmm.
Let's look at the curly ones. I didn't bring out the knights, but those were great knights. What was a great knight? Change. Two of Pentacles. Crowley gives them all keywords. Change here for the Two of Pentacles with a great Ouroboros. The yin and the yang again, showing its your Ouroboros in a form of a lemon skate, so to speak. So we got this idea of eternity, of holding the universe together, doubly symbolized. We're working back up. The Two of Cups in the Thoth deck, labeled love. Very much the Two of Cups, the emotions, the showing a balance. The Two of Swords. Oh, there are we. Here we are. I'm gonna get this right one of these times. Labeled peace. And the Two of Wands Get rid of that reflection. There we are. Dominion. So let's quickly bring into the discussion the more traditional Rider-Waite images. Oh, you know what? I got the wrong one. I got a 3 of Wands. How did I do that? Darn. Well. Oh, well. It's, I don't have it.
The deck to me.
Two of Swords. Of course, there's our image of peace. Swords being the suit of air, being intellect or mind, ego mind, rational mind. And here the image of the person at peace with their swords, kind of a pose of the blindfold here suggests, you know, there ain't no prisoner. This isn't the 8 of Swords, it's the 2 of Swords. And the blindfold's on voluntarily. This person is like in a state of meditation, is finding peace. The idea here of the 2 in the Swords suit here is thought. Thanks. The idea of, in order to actually even, and you get that same, of course, well, another little clue is the Roman numeral 2 is also the symbol for Gemini too, so that fits in there too. Gemini being an air sign, and the idea here is that a thought requires a polarity, a this and a that, in order to kind of have an intellectual kind of thought about it. Otherwise, it's just boom, it's just a force. Ace of Swords, we're going to find out next week, is just this, the primal vibration. In order to have discussion, or even in an internal discussion in the mind, you need to have this and a that, and that's the 2. But it's not a problem. That's how thought is created. Dallas found me the 2 of Wands there. So he's here, this dude, traditional image there in the Rider-Waite. He's got the whole world. He's got a little globe in his hands. It's about dominion. Crowley labels it. It's about this energy, the wand, creative wand energy is here. It's in flow. It's building. This person here is obviously, he's depicted as like a person of power and or influence and or wealth, but sort of you assume he's in charge of this castle where he stands. He's got the world in his hands, and he's kind of looking about where to put this energy, how to use this energy. And it's because it's creative energy and he wants to use it. It's not because he has to. Urgency isn't depicted. A little more urgency here in the motions when it comes to emotion. It's the 2 of Cups, the often seen as the love card in the tarot. And again, of course, let's just keep it in mind here that you might think that, well, the cups are more feminine, and they are the passive element. Cups, water and earth, cups and pentacles, cups and coins. So, nonetheless, we have the 2 male and female here. And it doesn't matter if they're male and female in the earthly realm. They could be male and male. Female and female, but the idea here is a sincere emotional exchange, and there's this thing depicted with the caduceus between them, is the idea that in any love relationship there is a third thing, and that third thing is created, is like the relationship itself and the potential for creativity that comes out of that, whether that be pro-creativity or other kinds of creativity. And then the 2 of Pentacles, the traditional image here, the fellow with the 2 And again, the Lemniscate symbols coming up here, and this idea of eternity, of constant movement, and Crowley labels his to change, and of course back to the yin and the yang, and in Taoism, the only constant is change. We see sort of these turbulent waters depicted in the background, and he seems to be too at movement or dancing or in movement. Focusing. He's not distressed, but he's focusing on what he has to do and what he's doing with juggling these things. And it's like the emotional matters are just kind of maybe a little turbulent, but they're in the background. That's not the focus. So let's get those cards on the altar. And we can start. Have you have any other questions or inputs?
This little bit here about Archangel.
Yeah, please.
This is from my Witch's Kabbalah book by Ellen Cannon Reed, and she observes that Ratzgael is the Archangel of Chokmah. The angels which carry out Ratzgael's directions are the Ophanim, or the wheels. And the wheels, that name is full of symbolism. There's the wheel of life, the wheel of the year. And the invention of the wheel represents one of humankind's first use of natural forces, gravity and inertia, instead of fighting against them. So
interesting point.
Yeah. And also in the Old Testament, Ezekiel saw wheels in a vision, and she puts forth the idea was perhaps what he saw was not a wheel as we know it, but a choir of angels, the Ophanim, and that special meaning was lost in translation. And to support the theory, the fact that Ezekiel also saw living creatures who bore the likeness of an eagle, an ox, a lion, and a man. Put the word holy in front of living creatures and you have the angelic army of Kether. A few lines later, he refers to the likeness of a throne, whereas thrones are the angels, another name for the angels of Binah, which is the sphere following Chokmah.
Yeah,
so
interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But that whole description of this, the wheels and the four heavenly creatures, and the people have been talked about as oh well, maybe it's a UFO or maybe it's this or that,
Mm-hmm.
are actually the symbols, very symbols that we're talking about in this supernal triangle. And
Yeah.
of course, you too will see on, like, I don't have it handy, but if you're familiar with the tarot, on the world, or what might be called the world or the universe card, which is about manifestation,
Mm-hmm.
and also in the many depictions of the Wheel of Fortune card, you have, it shows those four cherubim or angelic beings, which are the symbols of the zodiac fixed signs.
Right.
The eagle is a symbol for Scorpio and water. The lion is a symbol for Leo. The bull is the symbol for Taurus.
Mm-hmm.
And the angel is the symbol for Aquarius. And of course, we also use those very symbols of those fixed points in the zodiac as when we do our angelic Supreme Invocation of the Pentagram to create the temple. We're also do that.
Yeah.
Of course, the angel, you're not drawing it. It's the symbol for Aquarius, but the symbol for Aquarius again is the angel.
Mm-hmm.
So so somehow there's a big mystery here in this idea that there are these, we could say, angelic forces or divine forces that are holding our universe or the world together. And that, again, that they reflect, they're reflected here in Chokmah in the zodiac.
Right.
Okay, heavy stuff, man. Love it. Okay. All right. Shall we? Do you want to do any? You want to do quarters?
What would you like me to do?
The water and earth.
Sure. Pardon me. I was saying, excuse me to everybody out there. Water and earth. And we're going to make mud pies.
That's right. Okay. Oh, okay, that's what we get. Me. That's good. Okay.
Go for it.
Go for it? Okay. I'm just wondering what to use for a thame here, because I don't really, haven't given a lot of thought. We dedicate this temple to the goddess and the god. And this evening we are traversing the second Sephroth path of Chokmah. I'll do a brief incense. Which I've taken as moldavite, which has sort of a higher vibration of musk, because musk is the scent. And did you get a whiff of that? Should I put it out now? Yeah, that's strong. Okay, to that end. Ate Malkuth Vegabora Vegadula Leodam. Amen. Hecus Este Babyloi. First the Rose Cross. Yaheshua. 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 Yaheshua, Yovasha, Yod He Shin Va He. Aina Ra Yod Nun Resh Yod, sign of Osiris slain. El, the sign of the morning of Isis. V, the sign of Typhon Apophis. X, the sign of Osiris risen. L, V, X, Luke's light, light of the cross, Virgo, Isis, mighty mother, Scorpio, Apophis, destroyer, soul, Osiris, slain yet risen, Isis, Apophis, Osiris, Io, Ixape, Chokmah, Nanta, Biteoem, may the divine light descend. Hey, Yodevahe Elohim, Yodevahe Levadat, Shaddai Chayid Haaretz. May the divine light descend. Ate, Malkuth, Egabora, Egadula, Leolam. Amen. So be it. So follow along and imagine those arcs of light, if you will, where we draw them. So our circle and our sphere of light is established, and I call in the quarters and the archangels. Exarpe, Oro Ibai Ozad Pi Jehovah, Jehovah. Hail Raphael, Archangel of air in the east. Fire in the south. Beiteoem. Oyepteia Pedoke, Elohim. Hail Michael, Archangel of fire in the south.
Yeah. Water, west. Chokmah. Agala, Agala. Imper Salgeol. Hail Gabriel, Archangel of the West. Earth, north. Nanta, Agala. Yimor dial hectega, Adonai. Hail Uriel, Archangel of the North.
Before us Raphael, behind us Gabriel. To the right hand Michael, and to the left hand Uriel. About us flames the pentagram, and in the column shines the six-rayed star. Ate Malkuth, Vegabora, Vegadula, Leila Am. Amen. So be it. So our temple is here established that we may traverse the second path, the sphere of Chokmah, wisdom. It is maybe seen image of a bearded male figure. Its god name is Yah, or Jah. Archangel Ratziel. Its order of angels are the wheels, or the Ophanim. It is represented in the mundane chakra as the zodiac, Maslow. Symbols: a straight line, phallus, an inner robe of glory, the yod in tetragrammaton. Alita yod. The twos and kings of the tarot. Colors: pure soft blue, gray, pearl gray iridescent, white flecked with red, blue, yellow. To go with, in the Briatic scale, gray.
And no hexagram because?
No hexagram because it's all the planets, because it's the zodiac. Which, however, brings me to, I could do as above, so below.
You could tell them to.
And as well, the zodiac's that way. As above, so below. There we are.
Yeah.
So I'm going to talk us through the middle pillar exercise. So do your best to follow along and stay awake. So you want to start by sitting or lying down, but be straight. And breathing deep. Relax the body best you can. Creak, creak. Want to first establish what is termed the 4 square breath. Breathing in deeply to your own count of 4, pausing for a similar count of 4, breathing out gradually for the count of 4, and pausing again for the count of 4. So if ever you find your mind wandering or worrying or thinking about shopping lists, etc., get back to managing that breath, 4 square breath. Drink. And we begin by imagining an orb of white light atop the head. It is pure white light, energized white light. It is pure source energy before polarity. It is the first sphere, Kether, called the crown atop the head. Its god name is Aheye. Aheye. Imagining that orb of light atop the head. Imagine the light coming from that orb atop the head, descending down into the body to form a lavender orb of light in the throat area. Lavender orb in the throat. Yehovah Elohim.
Yehovah Elohim.
Yehovah Elohim.
Yehovah Elohim.
Yehovah Elohim. Bring the light energy down to form a golden yellow orb of light behind the solar plexus, chest cavity. The light of love. Yehovah Elohim.
Yehovah Elohim.
Yehovah Elohim.
Yehovah Elohim.
Bring the light energy down to the groin area where it forms a purple orb of light. Light of life. God name Shaddai El Chai. Shaddai El Chai.
Shaddai El
Shaddai El Chai.
Shaddai El
Imagine the light energy descending to the feet, or the root, to ground us to ground you, and the light of form, a russet orb of light at the feet. His God name is Adonai Haaretz. Adonai Haaretz.
Adonai Haaretz.
Adonai Haaretz. Bring the attention to the light atop the head, the white light atop the head. On the exhale, imagine light energy coming down through the left side of the body to the feet. And on the inhale, bring the light energy up from the feet to the right side of the body to the top of the head. Exhale light energy down through the left. Inhale light energy up through the right. On an exhale, bring the light energy down over the front of the body. On the inhale, bring the light energy up from the feet along the back of the body to the top of the head. One more exhale, down over light energy down over the front, and inhale light energy up along the back. inhale, collect light energy at the sphere, at the feet. And on the exhale, release the light energy up through the body, up through the top of the head. Imagine light energy rushing through the body, through the top of the head, to fountain down around again. Be collected on the inhale at the feet. And bring the light energy up, fountain through the body, through the top of the head on the exhale. From this vantage point, we wish to enter the sphere of Chokmah, Ja, Ratziel, or Alim. You may want to. We've been working with approaching a great tree. We know we have shelter and a place in its roots. But today, pull back, look at the great tree. It is in a place that is an ancient place. You see great stones and what may have been an ancient temple. Now in ruins, but still with great stones. Step back, see the larger context, and a night sky, the starry sky. quarters. Uriel. Uriel. Gabriel. Michael. Raphael. Thank you, Raphael. We thank the guardians of the quarters and the energies called, drawn to our ceremony and our meditation. Go if you must, stay if you will. Blessed be. And before I turn this off, the rest of the evening will be on another video. And just that, of course, I realized yin is the feminine, Kuan yin, and yang. So I got that wrong at the beginning. But, of course, that's fine. Thank you very much.